Well, good morning, everyone. It's Chris Polis here at ITHive.org, and thanks for joining our Saturday morning tech show live here on Facebook, and also rebroadcast onto YouTube. As you guys can see, update from last week, still in my old location, right? The office is actually set up now in the new one, and things are stable. We're just in that transition, and as you can see with my face, we are executing a slow move, so a gradual move throughout the month of November, which will be good on moving day. It'll be a piece of cake, but it has its tolls, right? So lots of things to do every day for sure. And we just added one more thing, and that's moving stuff. So anyway, but good news is the office has now established where it's going to be for the next hopefully 10 years or so, and we're sorting out the data cap issues, looking at that kind of thing, data. When you have a cap on data, as a family and as a business, I've never had this restriction. So I'm using the network equipment I have to help us understand today what we're using every day to try and help the rest of the family and myself, retool how we use the internet, because that's going to have to be reality, right? My business will always need whatever data it needs, and the personal side of the data cap for the family is going to be whatever's left right now. Admittedly, the family uses more than the business, right? Because we don't subscribe to cable, and maybe I'll do a talk on that one day. But we haven't been users of cable TV for probably 10 years now. And we love it because we're not bothered with, I watched a show on cable not too long ago, and I'll just say this, right? I felt like half the time I was sitting there watching commercials, and I just don't experience that on the internet and streaming the content I want to watch, as opposed to being forced to watch stuff. We might not get everything as it's coming out, but yeah, that doesn't really matter to me. There's enough content out there to keep me entertained, and I don't need to watch a show that's just come out. Right? So anyway, that's it. I think we're doing good, and the move is happening, and the office is there, and I think maybe even next week might be doing this broadcast from that location. We'll see, right? Now, so this kind of preludes into maybe a bit of more of a deep dive. One of the products that I use for my customers is for their networks, right? And this might in many ways only relate to business clients, but I think there's applications on the residential market for some of this stuff too. And in part, I'll actually talk about that today. So, I have a couple of Meraki network equipment devices on my network. I have a security appliance and also a wireless unit. Interestingly, there's a whole bunch of features. Now, of course, all this equipment, I love Meraki stuff because I order this stuff for a client, and I can look at their existing network, and I can program the equipment while it's being shipped to the client, to the point that I just need somebody to plug things in and hook up the right cables in the right spots, and then all the settings and everything that I need to happen on that network just gets downloaded to the proper equipment, and everything's up and running, right? And because I can manage this equipment from wherever I am, right, it's fantastic, right? Because when the client's having issues or they're having trouble, right, I have visibility as to what the possible causes would be, and that cuts down your time to get things resolved, right? And that's really one of the things we're trying to achieve here, right? Yes, we'll work on the area of preventing problems, and that's a large part of it too. But when things happen, the more your tech support arm of your business, or even if you're a residential client, your tech support guy, right? The more they see, the more they understand, right? The easier it is to fix problems. So the Meraki network equipment, in particular, when I started this session this morning, I talked about data bandwidth. The amount of data you can download per month, and that's the reality we're going into. And I know some clients have that restriction as well. So what I do for my clients is when they use the Meraki network equipment, one of the things that I do and I check daily is I have the equipment produce a summary report for me. And it gives me a lot of information as to what has happened in the last day on the network. And I use this on a daily basis to look for trouble, understand trends, understand how the network's being used and all that stuff, all in an effort to, fend off any kind of issue that might be happening, right? We want to catch problems when they're small and, hopefully catch problems before they even become a situation where anybody notices, right? So that's what it's all about. So one of the things on that report, the summary reports, it tells me how much data has been used in the day, and I can see what application's been using the most data. And as an example for us, YouTube and Netflix, right, are big data users, and because they're video streaming services, that's why you download videos from the internet, and it takes time. Anyone knows who's done this on their cell phone and then gotten a big bill from their provider knows it's expensive, right? So it takes a lot of use. So, but I'm using this today before we move to help everybody understand where our usage is. Right now we're running about 8-7 gigs a day, right? And I got to get people down to about 5, right? It's almost cutting it in half. And, it's working. We're talking about it, and we're understanding as a family, where our usage is happening and stuff. So I'm confident we can adjust, right? And a positive here, a reference to the last episode, which I think 6, we're on 7 now. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyway, the last episode last week, we talked about etiquette a bit, right? Well, I think having a little less internet will be a positive thing, because we will find other things to do to replace that. So, I'm happy about that. So I kind of diverged from the Meraki stuff, and I apologize. I do this live, and I gotta say, maybe this will change one day, but I don't really prepare for this very much. I want it to be a live kind of discussion, and kind of go where the topic takes us, right? So that's why I might ramble a bit here and there. But I don't want to be scripted and rigid and robotic, right? I want to be more on the fly, kind of talk about things and take it that way. So the Meraki stuff tells me how much data we're using and gives me insight as to where we're using more and stuff, and then we can help adjust. And not only that, right? Amazing tools security-wise. So I have teenagers, right? And anybody that has teenagers in the house should pay attention to this, because our young adults might not always know what activities or what situations would lend them to having problems or a cyber attack launched on them. And this security device that I have here does two things. It prevents them from going anywhere, and well, for that fact, my wife and myself from going anywhere accidentally or on purpose or whatever. That is going to be bad, right? So there's an error prevention there. Also, on the other front, it will sniff out a virus before it even gets to any computer on my network, which is really what you want, right? You know, you don't want, if the antivirus software is catching things, that's great. But if you have one of these Meraki security appliances on your network, I could almost say you could go without antivirus software on the computers, but I'm not so bold because I think, as with backup, security has to be a layered defense, right? Yeah, you can protect things at the network level, but how do you stop, let's say somebody has a USB key, and yes, there's ways to do this, right? But there's also inconveniences with it too. But somebody has a USB key, you know, a vendor or a customer or whatever, and plugs it into one of your computers and it's infected with a virus, right? Yeah, if you've got nothing on the local machine, well, you're going to be vulnerable, right? So, yeah, layered defense. Yeah, you know, the other thing to mention about the Meraki stuff, this is not cheap equipment by any means. But I think the value is there. You know, I had, and I've witnessed this on a couple of fronts, right? My wireless unit, something happened to it. It was a lemon when I got it. And I called Meraki, their support, and they're very helpful, English-speaking folks, easy to understand, which I appreciate because, you know, the communication is important to get that right. And anyway, we found out that the unit was a dud, and I caught the problem early enough in the day. The next day, from California, Meraki's head office, right, I had a replacement unit all the way up here in Canada. So cross-border, everything. And I was like, wow. And what did I pay for that? Zero. Not a cent, right? Not a cent to tech support, not a cent to replace the unit, the shipping, nothing. I didn't pay for a thing. And that's what you get, higher price product, right? Because there's more backing of that product, right? And I see this all the time in technology, right? If you're serious about having no problems and running your business or having a secure household or whatever, it's well worth the investment, right? You know, and I've mentioned this before, I think we're always in a danger on the internet when we think of technology that we focus on price, right? And I've mentioned this before and I'll mention it again and probably many more times in the future. Focusing just on price with technology is a huge, huge mistake because cheap will cause frustration. always, right? If you have a product and you're paying good money for it, your expectations can be up there too, right? And you can demand from the vendor, and very often you don't even have to demand from the vendor. They've built that into their model, right? And Meraki is one of these companies that has that down. You know, just what I said there, all their indoor products, lifetime warranty. Anything happens to them, you just call them up and send out. I had another client at West, their wireless, another wireless unit, indoor unit went down. Very same scenario. It took them a little bit longer to get a replacement, but that was due to a snowstorm and their location. But they got it, put it up, and not only was the old unit replaced, it was replaced with the newer model, right? What did that cost them? Zero, right? Well, okay, correction. It cost them a little bit of money because I took care of that for them, right? So they did pay me for that. But, that allows business owners to be business owners, right? And say, okay, my technology is taken care of. I don't have to worry about that. And if I have a question, I know who to talk to. That's what I'm giving my clients, residential or business, right? A human being that they can talk to and manage their stuff. So, a little bit of an overview of Meraki. One of the products we provide, so it's a complete networking solution. Love it. There's lots of power and lots of things that can be done, lots of different products, and lots of ways to secure yourself. So, like anything, if you need advice or technology support, this is what ITHive.org does. We don't want to take away the control from you. We want to help you manage your technology in coordination with us, right? Even if you have local techs, right? We can oversee and monitor and manage and help you put together plans, help you understand where your weaknesses is, where your gotchas are, all in an effort to prevent that whole scenario where a disaster happens and you go, oh God, I wish I had planned for that, right? That feeling happens in the business world and it happens in the residential world, right? Why would you want to be there, right? To save what? A few dollars a month, right? I don't know if the frustration is worth it. And I don't know about you guys out there, but I lead a pretty busy life. And even in my business, right? There's aspects of my business where I let other people deal with it, right? It's just not me, right? And that's a smart business owner will do that, right? So as much as possible, as you grow, you got to start relying on other folks and taking care of things. And that's actually is an enabler to growth, right? If you're a business owner and you're doing everything yourself, right? It's not sustainable. It's not growth. You can't grow, right? Because you'll be the bottleneck. You'll always be the bottleneck. And you don't want to be the bottleneck, right? Why would you stand in the way of your business growth? So a little bit off of technology subject, but it's an important thing to understand, right? Because, everybody wants to save money in their business and, cut their expenses and stuff, right? But are you saving money? Or are you opening yourself up to risk or potentially scenarios that might be the end of your business, right? So, yeah. Anyway, we're coming on 17 minutes, and I want to keep these things down to 15 unless we have a discussion going. But looks pretty quiet out there, right? One day we'll have a little bit more of a following. I know people do watch this after the fact, so that's a shout out to them, and thank you for your support. Oh, sorry, one other thing I wanted to mention, right? That's why maybe I should write down stuff, but anyway. So for members, ITHive.org, right? So people that get a monthly subscription, they get their computers taken care of on a regular basis. There is a program that I have that when you do a referral, you get a reward, right? So what we do is you refer another client to us. Every machine that they bring into, so every membership that they bring in, after 3 months, after they paid their invoices for 3 months, right, you get $30 for a machine. So I'm happy to say that one of my clients earned that $30. It's not a program that's widely used, but maybe this is because I don't talk about it much. But anyway, it's a great way. So if you were in use of my services, right, and you wanted to save money and stuff like that, well, you know what? To get some more clients in, right? You might end up with not having to pay me at all, ever. So, and I'm okay with that. That's great, right? I think the more clients using ITHive.org, the better for everyone. And I've set up a business model that will support that, right? I can do 500 on my own, not even close to that. So we got lots of room. And beyond that, we'll bring in other like-minded techs and grow that way and use that same process to manage technology. And we'll have lots of people happy with very skilled and personable and human-minded techs. All right, so I'm just going to say it's Remembrance Day here in Canada, and shout out, give those men and women a minute of silence today, and remember and respect the sacrifice that has happened in the past. All right, so on that note, have a good Saturday, happy Remembrance Day, and we'll see you all next week, maybe in the new location. All right, have a good weekend. See you, bye.